Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where it's all about helping you complete your financial journey to retirement. Discover time-tested strategies and get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Break away from the herd and go for the retirement you dream of. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
All right, back on Personal Pension Radio. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Episode 238. 238. I really do appreciate all of the emails and the feedback from folks out there in listener world, wherever you might be. You can actually download the show now on iHeartRadio. You can download from iTunes, of course, all over the interweb. There are various different ways, and I really appreciate all of the support. I actually appreciate some of the emails that I received asking me where my most recent podcast episode was. I am a little bit late in between my recent postings, and it is essentially because of the situation that I'm going to share with you today, that we had some things going on with a client in our firm that I was asked to really get involved in and jumped in and really helped out. So that was taking a top priority position. Now, today is going to be a short episode, as much as I can be short. My wife would tell you I talk a lot. And those of you who listen to the show, you know sometimes I can definitely go on a bit. But today, I do want to keep it short. My mission, as always, is to deliver a financial planning-based conversation around retirement and retirement income planning that is often missed in the typical financial planning conversation that Wall Street taught me when I was a young advisor, and in general that Wall Street continues to teach. There's always a great thing that I've said many times on this show that is important to set as a baseline for folks. People ask me, what makes me different? Retirement income planning, so what? Well, think about this for just a moment. This question that I've asked many times and I've shared on this podcast. Does Wall Street, now Wall Street, this is Wall Street in general, the financial industry in general. Do they have any incentive to spend money educating me and my comrades out there in financial planning world? Do they have any incentive to teach us or the general public how to take maximum money out of their retirement plans? Of course not. Wall Street does not have a financial incentive to teach me how to teach my clients to take maximum withdrawals from their investment accounts. It is not something that is a priority for Wall Street. It never has been. It's not nefarious necessarily. It's just good business. Why would any business of assets under management and investment accounts, why would they want to teach more about how to take money out of their system? That's where they get paid. So my mission is to deliver that retirement conversation, that part of the conversation that is missing, to build a relationship with you, the listener, that maybe someday you'll send an email to Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com and say, hey, I would love to talk to you about planning out my retirement income strategy because I'm not getting that from my current path. That is what has happened so many times over the years, that folks have built this relationship back and forth, if you will, so to speak, on the podcast, and then said, hey, I think I'd like to give this guy Kraig a try, and give me a call, and sometimes we hit it off, sometimes we don't, but we always part on good terms. That is something that I'm committed to. So if you are in that retirement planning mode, if you're in that mode about, man, I haven't had my investments reviewed in a long time, I have no idea what my retirement income plan is, that's a great time, a great opportunity now to get in touch. Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. Now, a quick disclosure before I jump into things, because I am going to share a deal of the week. I actually just went through this deal of the week, and I want to make sure to share it with you. My disclosure, as always, at the beginning of my show is that I am not an attorney. I am not a certified financial... Oh, I am a certified financial planner. That's so critical, folks. I did that play on words to hit that a little different today, to say, hey, a certified financial planner is someone that he or she has gone that extra mile, that extra bit of effort, and I mean seriously effort, in order to achieve the certified financial planning designation. You have got to go through a bunch of college level courses. You've got to sit for a 2-day long exam, 10 hours. And I'm serious, 1,000 hours of studying. I'm not much of a study kind of a guy, and I'm not much of an academic. So to pass the Certified Financial Planning exam was a serious amount of work for me. I know there's some financial planners and advisors who listen to my show, and congratulations on passing it like a breeze because you're so brilliant. That's not me. So I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I am a certified financial planning professional. All that to say this: please don't act on things that you hear on my show, and especially things that you hear on financial entertainers' shows, those who are not licensed, those who have not gone the extra mile to become a certified financial planner. Please meet with a qualified, hopefully certified financial planner to discuss your specific situation before you jump out and make any decisions financially. Now, quick deal of the week this week. Those of you who listen to the show, you might know this, but I'll share this just to update everybody. I am a car nut. I'm a car nut. I run a large car show, a Cars and Coffee Corona. I run a show every Saturday with over 100 cars. I love cars, so I also have a car dealership license. Yes, I buy and sell cars. I like cars. My personal cars that I like to trade are Porsches. And I know some people hear that and go, whoa, fancy. No. If you know me, I do not like to pay retail. I remember a friend of mine recently saying, I got to get you a shirt. And I said, well, what's going to be on the shirt? And he says, I've already got it picked out. It's retail is for suckers. Now, he said that's a movie line or a TV show tagline. Oh, that's what it was. It was from Seinfeld. Kramer on Seinfeld used to say, retail is for suckers or something like that. So my friend said he's going to get me a new shirt that'll fit exactly for my personality when it comes to spending money on stuff. So when I say I like Porsches, I love finding a deal on a car that might need a little love, that might need a little paint restoration or upholstery work or some basic stuff that needs to be done. But I love to find a great deal. I will usually find them. I will fix them up. I'll beautify them. I'll enjoy them. They make me smile for a while. I go on some nice drives with my wife and my friends. And then I sell them through my car dealership, and I actually make a profit. I make a profit on the cars that I find. So far, that's the way it's worked out, and I have another car right now that's exactly the way it's on track. I'm having a great time with it. However, my deal of the week is about the Porsche in my garage. The Porsche in my garage, it came in a little rough. Now, I knew that this car needed to have the paint corrected, a really good polish and paint correction job. I knew that, but it came in with some things where door panels, the adhesive had separated. This was something that I had heard about, but I did not clarify on this purchase. So the door panels had separated, and they just didn't look good. I mean, the car drives fine. It's so much fun. It's great, but it just cosmetically, it drives me nuts because I am an ADHD guy. It's got to be right. I don't like that little detail. So I started researching, what do I got to do to fix it? Well, the Porsche dealership wants over $1,000 because they say, no, you can't glue them. You can't do that. You basically got to just replace the panel and put all the hardware from one door, put it on the other door, and that's it. That's the only way to do it. And I just, of course, $1,000, come on. So I went to the Google machine and I picked up some inspired ingenuity. What I mean by that is I went to the source of all knowledge, YouTube, and I did some research. And I researched, and then there you go. I found actually some information with people who had the same problem, and they had their ideas and their solutions to fixing it. And then I took that and I modified it a little bit with the way I did it. And Amazon Prime with some window adhesive, and wham, bam, I put the door panel back on my car this morning, and it looks great. It looks 100% better than it did. It's not perfect, but it's not just in your face ugly anymore. And I did that for $40. $40. So I saved 96%. No, 960%. I mean, come on. That was awesome. So instead of spending $1,000, I spent $40, and no one can tell that I repaired the door. I mean, no one could look at that and know that I actually repaired the door. I love it. And that's my deal of the week. Once again, before you spend retail, right, remember, take control of your spending. That idea that you deserve it. Well, I deserve to keep my money. I like that. I've talked about that before. So now, today I actually do want to jump in to share this story. This is going to be a hard one for me, but I really wanted to just get it out there. Maybe it's a bit of my own therapy, but it really is for you, the listeners. And frankly, I know I have a lot of CPAs, attorneys, financial advisors, and financial planners who listen to my show to inspire you out there as well. Those of you who are out there working with clients and working out there directly assisting people with their own personal protection and planning. This is a heart-wrenching phone call. This all started with a heart-wrenching phone call, and then a really joyful subsequent call with a grateful couple. Okay? In the essence of privacy, this is going to be a story about Ralph and Peggy. Both are in their late 30s, and they have 3 children together. Now, they were introduced to me by their certified financial planner. When they had asked their certified financial planner about getting their living trust and their guardianship provisions in place for their kids. Yep. Another certified financial planner suggested they work with me because I'm a bit unique in the financial planner realm because I'm also a paralegal at an amazing law firm that does estate planning and business planning and tax planning legal work. I'm a paralegal on the law firm side, and I help and facilitate estate plans and wills and trusts and powers of attorney. And this certified financial planner knows me pretty well and recommended these folks work with me to help get the conversation going. Now, Peggy is a court stenographer, and Ralph is a personal injury attorney. That's how they basically say they met in court. Like, I'll meet you in court, right? So these folks are just a joy to talk to. As a young personal injury lawyer, Ralph saw many cases where families were torn apart by premature death and disability. So when Peggy and Ralph were married, they both agreed to buy term life insurance and disability income insurance. Disability income insurance, you know, that insurance that covers you when you can't work. I have it. I love the fact that I have it because if I'm hurt where I can't work anymore, my mortgage and grocery bills and my lifestyle is covered by my disability insurance. I've got protection for my paycheck. So this couple with no kids, they both agreed early in their marriage to buy life insurance and disability income insurance. Now, when they had their first child, they added more term life insurance. And when they got a mortgage on their first home, they purchased more term life insurance. Because they were both enjoying their college debt and they were new in their careers and they were at entry-level wages in their positions, they purchased the cheapest term life insurance they could. They had been buying 10-year term insurance, and it was good. I mean, 10-year term does not mean that their policy stops in 10 years. What that means is you have a 10-year premium guarantee, Okay, so 10 years, your premium stays level. Let's say $20 a month for $1 million or whatever it is. But after 10 years, the policy doesn't just cancel. But the insurance company, they want to get rid of you because they charged you a low rate and they really didn't expect you to stick around. So if you stick around, they raise the premium up every year after your term guarantee. That's how level term insurance works. Now, this couple, Ralph and Peggy, both healthy, and they figured that they would add more and stretch out the coverage later when they had more income. Now, the first 10-year term policy they purchased, both of them got $1.5 million in coverage, which in my estimation was probably the maximum that they could have gotten straight out of, school and college and right into their entry-level positions. They might have been able to get $2 million, but getting $1.5 million, I was so impressed with this couple to start at that level of coverage. Truly great. I love that. By the time their third child was born, they each had $3.5 million of total life insurance. Now, $3.5 million of total life insurance, outstanding situation. That's great. Keep in mind, a large amount of it was 10-year term, meaning that they only had, in some cases, a few more years before the premium would start to rise. Now, here's where we take a turn for things. A few years ago, Peggy, she had started suffering from severe headaches. Now, thinking this was a situation of migraines because her parents had had migraines, or mom really had had migraines, she thought, migraines, I'm going to self-treat. So for a few weeks with serious migraines, she'd been popping ibuprofen. And when one day, when she nearly passed out at work, she finally went to the doctor. So 7 years and 3 kids into their family journey, they were rocked with unthinkable news. Peggy had brain cancer. Yeah, Peggy had brain cancer. It wasn't a migraine. Immediately, Peggy was scheduled to see an oncologist. In the span of a few weeks, normal went from don't step on the Lego in the living room, you don't want to trip on a toy in the hallway, to mommy is in full-scale cancer treatment. Full scale, okay? Now, once the news and the treatment plan settled into their new normal, Peggy and Ralph contacted a college friend who had become a CFP, someone that I know, and they wanted to make sure that things were in order just in case the worst happened. Now, when their friend reviewed their life insurance, he pointed out a potentially big problem in the protection plans. Okay? Ralph and Peggy had started their term insurance, remember, with 10-year term policies. And their premium guarantee on a large amount of their policy coverage was about to expire, meaning their premiums could jump up tremendously. Now, this meant that nearly 1.5 or over $1.5 million in coverage on Peggy would fall out of that premium guarantee, and the premiums would start to rise potentially beyond their ability to keep it. Now, remember, they have disability income insurance that will kick in, right? But that's a lot of insurance premium that maybe could rise just out of the stratosphere. Now, fortunately, I have to say this. Their advisor, their CFP friend, was not a Dave Ramsey devotee. A Dave Ramsey devotee that just regurgitates everything that Dave Ramsey says and doesn't deviate. Their friend knew the value of permanent life insurance, especially in the case of his friends. He suggested that Peggy could convert some of her term insurance policies to permanent policies. Let me explain this. Term life insurance is not meant to be kept forever. So the insurance companies will price it relatively low, really cheap most of the time, because they know the odds are in their favor that you will not keep it past the 10-year or the 20-year or the 30-year. Insurance companies almost always will have a built-in option to convert a term insurance policy into a permanent policy without evidence of insurability. Being able to take a 10-year term policy, convert it into a permanent policy that for a higher premium, without taking a medical exam and regardless of her cancer diagnosis, that policy would now last for the rest of her life, however long that was. Now, they had some time before this conversion option was no more for Peggy. They didn't have to make the decision that day, but their CFP, fortunately, let them know. You could turn these policies into cash value, really just about permanency. Cash value is another term that's used to describe permanent insurance. That they could do that, right? The window wasn't closed. So, Peggy and Ralph, and especially Peggy, of course, went to work fighting cancer and putting their affairs in order. Now, a few months then passed, and they received the final words. The final words from all the doctors was the doctors were going to be able to slow the progression. However, there was no way that they would be able to save Peggy. There was no outcome that did not end with her leaving this world and leaving her family. As with most cancer situations, doctors often work in terms of months, maybe years, but it's always very uncertain. When it became clear that there was a chance that Peggy would be able to battle through another 12 to 24 months, they revisited the life insurance conversation with their friend, their CFP. And they decided to convert all of Peggy's old term insurance to permanent life insurance so they could secure the death benefit. Remember, $3.5 million. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, geez, those premiums must be so high. Yes. The premiums were much higher than before they had a plan. Okay? Now that Peggy was considered permanently disabled and unable to work, she could take withdrawals from her retirement accounts without facing a 10% penalty. So what they did, looking at relatively small IRAs and 401ks, they used withdrawals from her taxable IRAs and 401k accounts to pay for the premiums on the newly converted permanent life insurance. The money in Peggy's retirement accounts, again, it was not that much as far as a retirement savings, but it was more than enough to cover the premiums for the amount of time that Peggy might have left. They also used some of the money to cover expenses so that Ralph could take time off from work and be home with the kids and Peggy during downtimes after her treatments. Because they now know with certainty that Ralph and the kids will get $3.5 million income tax free when Peggy leaves. They know that they can wipe out those IRA accounts. They know that they can spend that money down right now because their income is going to be so low this year with all of this trauma that they can use that money to cover the permanency over the next 18 months perhaps and beyond. The IRAs would apparently last well beyond, and I know they will and I'll tell you the end here. Now, with the life insurance now sorted out, they knew financially, with certainty, that Ralph and the kids would be okay because they now secured the life insurance. They have a plan. Now, they wanted to connect and revisit their estate plan. Now, could you argue, yes, man, I wish they'd had that in place when they had 3 kids. Of course, but we all get busy. I understand that. But now, they've got that all done. They turned back to their friend and said, wow, what do we need to do next? And he says, we've got to get your living trust, your estate plan, your wills. We got to get all that done. Guardianships for the kids. We got to do it. And that's where we are now. My law firm team is amazing. And after I connected with Ralph and Peggy, and we had a deep dive with my lead attorney, we expedited their estate plan, their wills, trusts, powers of attorney for health care, all of it. Their grant deeds for asset transfer, their guardianship provisions are now bulletproof and labeled. Everything's done. Okay? So here's the thing. This is where it's hard, because I'm recording this on the day that I visited with Peggy and Ralph. Peggy took a turn for the worse last week and had a really bad day yesterday. And my team is just fantastic, expedited everything and got all the documents into my hands. My wife is a notary, and we headed to the house where we met with Peggy and Ralph and their friend, the certified financial planner, my friend. And we sat at their kitchen table, and we got all of their documents signed, their estate plan signed. We got all of their trust deeds signed. We had it all done. We got it all done. I was moved. I still am. I was just amazed at how comfortable Ralph and Peggy were during this meeting. They both expressed so much gratitude and relief knowing that they had taken care of each other financially, and Peggy didn't, it's really something. She's so strong. She didn't have tears. She didn't cry, but she was so sincere when she said how much she appreciated her friend and their CFP who had made sure to help them get the life insurance all buttoned up and get it all done, that she was so grateful to know that her kids and her husband would be okay, that her husband would be able to stay home and help to raise the children, that their college would be paid for, that they are going to be okay without her. That just, it's amazing. Now, in 22 years, I've been through this before. I've been through this before. I've been through it where folks didn't have their planning done right at all. And it was some of the saddest times that I can remember in my career. The times where I'm able to sit there and help people just button up the details like this, I'm truly grateful for that. I share all this to end on this note. Ralph and Peggy are in a really hard time this next few months. It is coming up towards that end point. But the great thing about it is they both are not stressed about the kids. They're not stressed about money. They're not stressed about anything legal. They're not stressed about anything at all financial, any of that BS. They can just be together and just take care of providing as much comfort for each other, and especially Peggy, as possible, keeping the kids comfortable, making sure they're both there with the kids. They're going to be as okay as they can be. All right? And if you're out there listening to this, hopefully your heart is touched in some way to say, I need to call my CFP. I need to call my financial planner. I really should make sure that my life insurance is okay. I should make sure that my estate plan is right. Oh, that's right. I don't have one yet. Maybe I should get my will, my trust, my powers of attorney done. Please, you know me as the income engineer. I love that retirement income conversation. But if you haven't taken care of the fundamentals, some of the uncomfortable conversations nobody likes to have, like what happens if you died? Let's get your life insurance, your disability insurance conversation, your estate plan, your trust, and your wills. Let's get that all buttoned up. Because of my position with my law firm, I offer a great discount to be able to have your estate plan done by a top-notch firm. Please send me an email, Kraig with a K, at Kraig Strom, STROM.com, KRAIGSTROM.com, Kraig with a K. Send me an email. If you've got life insurance and you don't know what the heck you have, let's review it. Let's make sure that it's great. If you've never shopped for disability insurance to have paycheck protection like Ralph and Peggy, oh my gosh, that has been a godsend for them. Please send me an email. Folks, take this, I hope, with all sincerity, as a happy story for the most part. It is sad that this family is going to lose a mom and a husband's going to lose a wife. But it's a happy story that these two, as a young couple, they took care of the uncomfortable details that today are making the worst of all situations just that little bit better. And I'm here to help. I'm always willing to see if I can help. Folks, take good care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio podcast. If you missed anything during the show, that's okay. We took the notes for you. Check the show notes for links, offers, and a full transcript. And don't forget to head over to personalpensionradio.com and download your free retirement income report. While you're there, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening. Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.